All right, we'll call this meeting to order. I'll do pledge allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any items to public comments? All right, perfect. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence and presentations. Any correspondence?
No, we didn't.
Presentations. Do we have one?
Hey everyone, my name is Brett Labello. I'm the Director of Regional History and Genealogy, and I'm here to introduce John Gerald, our new program coordinator. First of all, before I introduce him, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the history of his position. Of course, I'm the history guy and I'll tell you the history. Back in 2018, we created this position, a program coordinator. Our previous person in the role, Kara, took us through and guided the symposium, which is our signature event. She also took us through the 2020 pandemic and took everything that we were doing and put it online. So she did some great work and then moved into a new role as our archivist at Regional History and Genealogy, which gave us the opportunity to really focus our efforts more on getting outside of our walls. Everybody comes into Regional History and Genealogy, loves the stuff we have, but we can't take it outside the walls because they're 100 years old, really fragile. So that's sort of the impetus of John's hire. John Gerald is focusing on taking the stories that we have outside of our walls, working with the community to grab their stories and make them into history and make them really understand that the stories that they live is actually really historic. It matters. So that's some of the things that he's doing. He's got a background in history. He's really relational, as well as community focused. So he's ideal for this position. And I'd like for him to say a couple words about what he's been up to for the last 3 months.
I'll be brief here. So I've started to work with some community organizations. I've already had some meetings. We don't have anything official yet. But I've had some meetings, we got some more coming up. Another thing that we're really wanting to do with the position is make sure that I know what materials we have. So when I'm reaching out to the community, I'm not just telling them, hey, why don't we form a partnership? I come in with some concrete examples of what we're talking about. And of course, when I come in knowing about the institution's history and I have that enthusiasm, that's not something you can fake. So it really helps to get buy-in into what we're doing. And then a project that we are working on right now as well, the program that we're working on for this year is When East Was East. So we're approaching the 50th anniversary of when the East Branch, not the East Library, the East Branch opened in the Rustic Hills Shopping Center. And so we're looking at a project that's chronicling the history of development in that region, reaching out to some community organizations from the area to help build that program. And actually part of it, part of the research is in here right now as we found the master plan from 1983. And there's some fun stuff in. I would say if you're interested in how East got its name and when it changed to East, that's the part everyone's most interested in so far. Check out the program when it's available. Thanks everyone. My name is John.
All right, next we have our reports. So we got Friends of the Pikes Peak Library District historian.
So my update today is we had our big spring book sale this weekend. How many people did I see here? No, just kidding. So I'll just throw some numbers out because when we do these recaps, it's just amazing. And you know, this is the two big sales are fundamentally where most of the money that we then are able to give to. So books and media primarily books. I mean, we had some DVDs. We sold 10,970 items. We asked patrons and we asked folks that when they came to check out if they would round up, you know, so that we would have some donations. And this year we started to tax the sales. So before, we didn't ask the customers to pay the tax. We would just collect the money and then we would eat the tax. But this year we had the customers. So we collected with all of that tax roundup, $13,987.32. Of that tax, we have $904, which is payable as tax. We have card processing fees because we do accept credit cards, which is close to $300. So our net sales that we get to keep $12,788.30. So this year we also tried to count how many people, you know, with the counter. So we had, hold on, okay, Friday, which is members only, 238. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it was like a zoo in that room. Saturday, 671, and we still had some members, friends come in then. And then Sunday is the bag day, you know, which I go, why wait till Sunday? Everything's to me is picked over. I mean, there are some, like we had boxes and boxes of Patterson books, and we had boxes and boxes of Daniel Steele. I mean, I guess somebody has to buy those. So we had over the 3 days, 1,239 folks come through. And we had, for those 3 days, we had 63 individuals who volunteered to help with the sale. So it was just terrific. We bumped prices up a little bit because we were collecting tax. And we just thought for all those years when we were selling a bag of books for $5 that we should bump that up. So we bumped that up to $6 for members, for friends, $7 for non-friends. And then you ought to see the booksellers who come. So we had a bookseller who had like 6 bins of books. And, you know, so they said, this is not what you want to go through cash. So they took 2 of us to count all those bins. And you have to empty the bins to count them and put everything back in. So we do get a lot of booksellers who join friends, get the books at a cheaper rate. We even went, my sister and I even went and checked one of the booksellers' stores to see how much then they were charging for those books. So he bought a hardback book for $1.60 as a friend and was selling in his store for $4. So that's it. So great. It was a great weekend and everything. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is the foundation, Mr. James.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. As usual, questions, like to always start out with that on the report as submitted from anyone. Anybody? Great. Just 2 things to highlight from the report. First and foremost, April 4th is Library Giving Day. So we are ramping up to that and are hoping for another successful campaign and fundraising for the library for that. So tell all your friends and neighbors. In the same spirit of telling all your friends and neighbors, based on what we can tell the first time, we are doing a fundraising event for the foundation. So kind of think gala type event. And the development committee of the foundation board has set that date for Saturday, October 21st. So please mark your calendars. It is at Library 21C and tickets are $121. There's a theme there. Just wanted to get that on everyone's radar screen. Look for information about how to purchase your tickets coming out soon. And we hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, the friends have already Said committed to buying a tape.
They were first in. Next up is the public service report. Sales.
Any questions? I'm going to do a little amount of talking tonight. The only two things I just want to highlight is a reminder that the food industry training graduation is Friday, so if anybody has any lunch plans, please feel free to stop by 21C at 11 o'clock for that. And I don't know if you noticed, but our winter adult reading program numbers are up higher than last year's as well. So be excited to see that too.
All right, next is the support services report. Oh, shoot, I was already marked. That was my bad. Go ahead, Randy. You don't need to know about it. It's fine. It's on the report. You're scrolling all the way down. Hi, everybody. So obviously we just closed February. Two things on the first page, we'll just get past the cover sheet. Probably noticed right away was our revenue number jumped as expected. Our February month is always our heaviest revenue receipts and property tax, so that's pretty normal. And we're tracking well on that. And the other thing that we've had as an added item on last board meeting for capital spending, adding that into what we had previously approved 736, brought that to a negative 4356 million, and it's basically part of our previous year fund balance that will carry over eventually. I haven't messed around with the actual projection on what our year end's going to be, because we're only 2 months into the year, and that'll firm up a little bit more as we get closer, a little bit more on our audit material. So I'll be bringing that together. And then the other thing that we're doing a little differently on this statement from other years is we are trending on previous experience, like for the last 3 years on our revenue, and probably not as much on the expenses. I would like to do a little bit more of that to get the trending layout a little bit easier. So the $1 million that we're flush on that expenditures will probably even out some as we get further into the year, and I get that trended out a little bit more as far as bigger payments that are happening in specific months that have been kind of scooped over the entire year at this point. And it's a year-to-date report, so when I do that kind of stuff, it won't have the high up and downs. It'll smooth it out a little bit because we're kind of year-to-date. Regional, or I'm sorry, functional areas such as library services, support service, governmental, and all that. Those are all running ahead again. Some of that's trending. And same with the negatives, they're really small, and intergovernmental used to be a much larger number, and we pulled a lot of that stuff out, either moved it into the insurance, self-insurance fund, or it came up into finance, such as the treasury fees and all that. And I mentioned that because on the second page of the more detailed listing of our departmental expenses, finance has got 131,000 minus. Again, I need to do probably a little bit more trending on when that would be dropping into the, we'll trend it off what our revenue expectations are. Because that's basically our 1.5% that we paid on our $12 million. And so it was on the trending, it was even, and then of course in the month it comes in and create that kind of spike. So I'll have that trended a little more representative of what's going on. The capital project fund, again, the the big negative there is because we carried over a bunch of unused budget dollars from last year that was approved last week. And we decided late in our budget process that we weren't going to give additional funds to the capital funds. So it's no revenue, just a small amount for a designated fund. And Jerry had started spending some of this in February, and it's ramped up more March, and we'll probably continue that way for the spring. He's got a bunch of projects that are very time sensitive. He's got to get stuff done on our side before the school district start following up all the contract. So there's some routes. Self-insurance fund tracking very well. Don't have much there except much of our insurance has already been paid. I did get a premium notification on our cyber. We got that in place after we got our MFA done. I don't have an exact number, but I think it's probably about 60% of what the number was last year, taking out the fact I had to extend 2 months. So the 2 months we extended cost us $6,000, and the rest of the year cost us $22,000. So the MFA made a huge difference in pricing on that. Plus, I think the insurance company, like most of them, say we're not insuring the warranty and stuff. And of course, the last sheet, that's our budget reconciliation. And again, there's that 4.356 number there in the lower right hand side. Any questions? What was it? Yeah. And you end up splitting that between the self-insurance fund and general. Any other questions? Thank you.
And now we'll move on to the support services report. Anyone have any questions on that? I did want to thank both Heather and Justin, not in the reports, but for their support during our chief librarian search. You guys did a great job. I really appreciate all the work that you guys, your teams put in to help support us through this process, well, up to this point and ongoing, but up to this point. So thank you both for your work on that. Of course. Anything else on support services? All right, we'll move on to the interim chief librarian support.
So I want to take this opportunity and thank Penrose Building staff for their flexibility and understanding and patience with us while we were trying to decide what was going on and working in public health. So they were amazing, and they also had great questions that were informative for their whole building, but also I know that it was hard for them to know, like they didn't have information. They didn't know if this building would be closed for a week, 2 months, or 6 months. So they were very gracious with all of us. So I wanted to take this opportunity and thank them, and also Penrose Building Management. It was a lot of hours of scheduling all the staff in different locations, and it was such a teamwork when it comes from other regions and libraries. So, and thank you, Tammy, for leading that. I know it was not easy. So also Gary Styling, he played such an important role in this whole process. And it was always very helpful for me when I called him, and he was very calm. So, right, and Michael Redner, so for all the support, and also that Michael was been so proactive regarding sensors, and I know that a lot of them have been already installed. So it was a very trying time for all of us, and but also we are extremely fortunate that where we are. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank the public health. They were very supportive, and also I'm sure they were very happy to hear my voice, because anytime they delayed responding to us, I would call them. So, and of course, I want to thank the trustees for your support during the time, and Aaron personally, thank you for being there and delivering lunch to us on Saturday. So I think Tammy and Denise and I did nothing less more hungry. So, and of course, Denise Abbott was amazing. So she took this interim position, and this surprise happened, and she handled it beautifully. So I'm very glad that we had closed and we opened our buildings to the community with the support of so many people. So that's what I wanted to say. And I know that you receive weekly updates from me, and if you have any questions, please be happy to answer.
Thank you for this, by the way.
Yeah.
Any questions? Next up is our board reports, so.
So, for the first community update, we did present the applications that we received to the board for review, and the board met and chose the applicants for screening interviews, which were conducted on Monday. So the next step will be to determine finals.
Which we have scheduled for executive session. All right, any questions on the search?
I would like to, as everyone is, thank Heather for all of her help. She's just been phenomenal, and I have a real appreciation for everything that you do, and I'm not cut out for HR. Good thing Heather is. Yeah.
That's good. Great, thank you. All right, next is our governance committee report.
All right, so we didn't meet, but thanks to Laura for putting this out. I do have the adopted trustee form. And Julie, being the newest member, got to go first, so I'll pass it around and pick two from each column, or two from each color. That would probably be better. Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you. Internal affairs,
We did not meet this week.
public affairs.
We did not meet either, but you all received an email from Laura about the library proclamations and which meetings you might be able to attend. So please get back to her as soon as possible.
Thank you. All right, liaison comments. I don't think we have any of our liaisons for this tonight. So we'll move to trustee comments. Trustee comments,
I have some.
go ahead.
I attended the Narcan training in February, and it was very impressive and also very easy. So I would encourage anybody who's interested to do that. And I picked up my winter adult reading program prizes. The mug, once again, is very wonderful. It will go in my collection. So if you haven't done that.
That's on my list.
Okay, that's all.
All right, thank you. Other trustee comments? So I had the extreme privilege of doing a meet and greet with the staff. We opened it up with the board president last Friday. I bribed people to come and talk to me. Well, they bribed people to come and talk to me with donuts and coffee, and I'd say it was a pretty good turnout. We had, I'd say, around 50 people that showed up, and we had lots of questions specifically around the budget. We had questions around the CEO search and around the circulation and the materials we have. There's a lot of information out there about me, and Because that's the opinion of where I stand on things versus where I actually stand on things. So it's nice to be able to address those questions, and hopefully it was able to alleviate some fears and really let people know that we're here. We as the trustees are here to really move this organization forward in the best possible way. We're here to steward. That was sort of my message, especially on the budget stuff. We're here to steward what we have and to make sure that the library remains here in this community for many decades. I will say that there are a couple things that were brought up. Number one was the adopted trustee. We had questions about whether or not we were maintaining that. I said, actually, we're working on it right now. So that we'll be bringing up at this meeting. So we addressed that. Their circulation would like us to come by at some point. So I'll work with Laura to see when we can try to schedule something, whether we have a board meeting or something, and see and try to schedule something in the day. They even offered to do kind of pastries or something and do kind of a breakfast thing if we wanted to come up there early one day. So I'll work with Laura and get that out to you guys so you can try to schedule that. And the last thing was there was some questions around meeting the finalists for the CEO search. And I told them that we did not have anything in the timeline for the staff to have like a Q&A town hall style. They said they had done previously. And so I figured after we talked about the finalists tonight that we might talk about what that timeline looks like and if there's an opportunity for us to get that in. So I want to make sure that that was one of the questions that came up around this CEO search came up a couple of times. So I wanted to make sure that got addressed. I told them I would bring it up to the board for us to discuss today. So those are my comments, but I had a great time meeting everyone. So thank you all to everyone who came out and for administration for helping coordinating. Donuts. So
When you say circulation, are you talking about
Selectional
development?
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Curriculum is the word that wants to come out of my mouth. So, yeah, okay, thank you. We'll get that one, yeah, I promise.
Oh, I need a lot of things wrong too.
All right, any other trustee comments? Right, on to business items. We have the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, discussion item, facilities master plan, Mr. Silent.
Should we all say Gary?
Hi, everyone. Teona asked me to say a few words about the facilities master plan that we're currently working on. Over the past several months, we've reviewed a lot of different master plans from libraries as well as school districts. And we found that there's one thing that's consistent with all of them is that they're all very different. They address different needs for each entity, and we need to do that as well. In your board packet, I believe you were provided with the latest draft of our scope of work and background and objective. I think it's an aggressive scope, but it's still a work in progress. We wanted the board to review and provide your feedback and let us know if you think there's something that you want us to consider to include in the scope of work, or if there's anything that's in the current draft to remove that. So we're looking forward to your feedback on that. We currently have a leadership team in other departments doing that same review, and we've asked for their feedback to be returned by April 3rd. And if you guys could provide your feedback, we'd appreciate that. Our tentative timeline that we have right now for the RFPs, if we can get it out mid-April, third week of April, we're looking at a 4 to 5 week deadline, and then reviews, interviews, references, and such, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully that we can bring that to the board for approval in June and maybe start on the development of the plan late June, early July. So I know you haven't had a whole lot of time to review the scope or the draft that you've been provided, but can I answer any questions? At this time, anyway.
I mean, we have a chance also to adopt things. We can save a lot of money.
I feel like that would cost us more money. So if we're building the plan June, July, that's when we would start building the.
Correct,
plan?
yeah, and people that we've talked with, consultants and other library districts, the plan could take anywhere from 8 to 12 months. So that would put us, 12 months, put us into next summer.
So we would be able to use that to help inform budget decisions for the 2025. Okay.
So, okay,
Any other questions?
we look forward to your feedback. Thanks.
Thank you. Right, next item on the agenda is a discussion item around the PPLD email. I'm going to ask Justin to help me chime in on this one a little bit. So I had requested, because Laura forwards us those bookmarks weekly. I said, should we just add the trustees to the all groups so that there's no additional work on her part and we just get it? And Justin said, yeah, it's more complicated than that, because if you do that, then it's not just an email group, but it's this whole network thing that signs you up for specifically what we were talking about with some of the fishing trainings. And I said, I'm not gonna make this decision for the board, that I think we should have a discussion around it. So I don't know if you want to talk briefly about what all is involved in. Yeah, if you don't mind. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this, so.
Excuse me. So you wanted to add the board members into the all group. The all group is a male-enabled security group, and we use that group. Say we open a new program, kind of like Michael's new security system. He wanted to add basically every PPLD member into that, so they'd have a badge. We just added the all group and put everyone in there. So if the board members are in there, obviously they're gonna have badges, so that'll work for that. But for other things like a phishing campaign, it's gonna start signing you up where you're gonna get fake phishing emails. If you click on them, they're gonna send you off to training. So, and there's other systems that this all group is gonna, it's gonna be, as we move to the cloud and things start being more cloud, we're gonna use that all group more for more things that are coming down the road. So I'm just letting you know, there's possibilities you might get signed up for things you don't want by being in the all group. Now, there is also an email, and I won't say it out loud, but we can also BCC that email. So anytime someone says, don't send something to all, we can BCC you all. That's another option you can think about.
I like that option. I think it's all you all.
Oh, you all. That's more of a southern, I think. So that's just your couple options. It's something you can think about. I don't know if you want to decide tonight. Think about it. Maybe the next meeting. Let me know. Anything's possible. So we can.
So
I like the black copy option.
I like that as an option. I liked some, just the phishing stuff. I said, we have network emails, and so we could be targeted just as much as anybody else in the organization. So making sure that we are not going to be the weak spot for that particular link or chain would be good, right? But with all of the other ramifications that go with it, I wanted to see what you guys think. But I think the BCC is probably the smart path forward, in my opinion.
We can go one route. If it's not working, we can switch to. It's really quick to do. So
Let me ask a question, because we have this problem sometimes is when you include a reply to all. So if you get an email and you hit reply to all, because some people do that, does that mean that we're gonna get that email as well?
So we have measures in place now for that. Actually, yeah, that's been a problem in the past. So Jeremiah actually, him and Denise both get anything sent to all. And if you're not on the the list to be able to say no without their approval. He'll see them all and he can deny it. I put myself off the list because I accidentally applied to all recently. And I said, I would like a safeguard where I never do that again. So yeah, I mean, that we have safeguards in place for that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm honestly, that's my biggest concern is that, because I have that, deal with that on a daily basis. And so, yeah.
If you want some screenshots of how to fix that, I'll send them to you.
Oh, no, I trust you guys. So as long as that is the case, then I'm open to everyone. That was my biggest concern.
Sure. Preferences,
BCC.
really good.
BCC, okay.
Awesome, thanks.
I'll see if I can set an automated rule. Do you want everything that goes to all, or do you just want the bookmarks, or you want just everything that goes to all? That's another question.
I mean, I think I'm fine with everything going to all.
Okay.
I don't want to sign everyone else up for that if that's not the case, but a lot of emails that go to all.
I mean, there
It's
is.
easy for me to self, delete things without reading.
Oh, yeah, I could set up rules and stuff like that, but that's just.
I prefer just the bookmarks.
Just the bookmarks?
Yeah.
I don't want it to get to a point where we're reading something that went out to everybody that really is not a board thing, and then we all start reading in and.
Well, we're not on the, reply to all this, so.
I know, but we would read them and then we'd go, hey, I saw this email. And I just think that we need to keep that separation between operations and board.
I agree.
So I would prefer that it just be like the bookmarks and things that we're supposed to see. Personally.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay.
That's good.
No problem.
Thanks so much.
You bet.
All right. That is the regular portion of our meeting. We're gonna move into executive session for us to have some conversation around the CEO and the superintendent search. Our CEO is here, sorry. A big one. Make a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to have the board discuss executive session, discuss personal matters relating to librarian and CEO searches authorized by CRS 24-6-4024F.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, invited to this will be the Board of Trustees and Ms. Lasky to answer any questions that you might have.